I have to ask you this. I completely forgot before. There's another very fascinating agent on the map here, one that continues to be kind of the stuff of legends and is still intriguing enough to inspire a lot of pop culture today. I believe I've told you that I'm originally from Slovenia, and the most famous novel ever written by a Slovenian author, his name was Vladimir Bartol, was called Alamut, after a fortress. The book was also one of the main inspirations for the video game series Asassins Creed. Both the novel and the video game obviously deal with the Nizaris, who are known for their ingenious use of assassins, some sort of super effective Middle Eastern ninjas of sorts. What's real and what's fiction here?
The Nizaris are a branch of Isma'ili Shia Islam, and their roots go back a long time before the Mongols, well over a century, and they are intensively persecuted in the Middle East by the region's Sunni authorities. And the region's Sunni authorities are worried about them for two reasons. The first is that they seem to be very effective at winning new converts, but also because the way that they exert their influence is through, as you say, political assassination. And lots of leaders are very, very worried about this. For example, Saladin is so concerned about the dangers of being assassinated by the Nizaris that on campaign, he spends his nights in a wooden tower, which can be locked on the inside, just to make sure no one can get in. And then outside that tower, there's a ring of soldiers, shoulder to shoulder. Outside that ring of soldiers is a second ring of soldiers. And even then, the assassins still almost managed to kill him twice.
Oh my God, you spend all this time and effort to become the Sultan, and then it's the opposite of fun. I mean, you have to sleep in a wooden tower.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And the Nizaris are very, very effective at what they do. Now, the Nizaris have two main centers. There's one center in northern Syria, and there's one center in northern Persia, northern Iran. And you're right, one of the main strongholds is called Alamut. And the Nizaris are a major faction in that sort of northern Iranian region for a long time. And there's even reports at one point of them reaching out, asking for help from the Mongols because, well, they've got enemies at home and the Mongols may not be as bad as their current enemies. So they're in an awkward position. But certainly by the time that we get to sort of the 1240s, 1250s, the Mongols see the Nizaris as an opponent. There are rumors in circulation that the Nizaris have said they're going to kill the Great Khan, which of course will not please the Mongols. And the third and final major wave of Mongol invasions into the Middle East takes place in 1252, when a new Great Khan called Monka sends his brother Hulagu into the Middle East with the biggest army yet. And his task is really to destroy everything that's left. And so in 1258, Hulagu destroys Baghdad. In 1260, Hulagu advances into Syria and takes Aleppo and Damascus and destroys the Ayyubid Empire. This is the final stages of the Mongols' third and most important set of invasions into the region. But before any of those conquests, the Mongols sack the Nizaris' strongholds in northern Iran, including Alamut. So yeah, this is a crucial moment for the Nizaris, and they never get to kill a Mongol senior leader.
Utterly fascinating. How is it possible to even sustain a tiny state or a kingdom with no army and simply with just a small sect of assassins, especially given the fact that they were surrounded, like you said, by these huge empires that in fact did have massive amount of troops?
So there are various things. There are various things that work in the Nizaris' favor. Assassination is obviously a major deterrent. Leave us alone, or we'll kill you. But also, before the Mongols arrive in the region, for a long period, for over a century, Persia, Iraq, Syria, these were all part of the Seljuk Empire. And I've mentioned the Seljuks a little earlier. They were a previous wave of invaders from Central Asia. and they created a massive empire for themselves across much of the Middle East. But from about 1100 onwards, all the way through to the Mongol invasions, the Seljuk Empire fell apart into smaller fragments, emirates and different governors and different contenders for power fighting amongst themselves. And even the Khwarezmian Empire, the Khwarezmians began life as Seljuk governors. So they are a symptom of that fragmentation. Now, the Nizaris can thrive in this environment because all the factions around them are so busy fighting each other that they're not fighting them. So that plus assassination means that they can survive. And the Nizaris also create for themselves these virtually impenetrable castles on the top of mountains. So they're very, very hard to reach. And they can just hold out against attackers for many years in some cases. And it's rare that a neighboring faction can hold an army together for long enough to besiege and overthrow one of their castles.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, follow and rate on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Every marketing tutorial out there insists it's really important that I hassle you about this, so I'm doing it right now. Also, if you'd like to, please support me on Patreon. This is a one-person podcast, as I always say. I do everything by my little old self. There's no team behind me. It's very sad, I know, but you can help by hopping on Patreon and finding the Smart Cookies podcast on there. And then last but certainly not least, as always, I have to thank my existing patrons, Tovarishin Tovarishice, absolute legends. Without you, there would be no Smart Cookies, which makes you actual producers of this show. So eternal thanks goes to Amy Jons, Matija Renčel, Florian Hauer, Peter Karba, Matija Zupančič, Dejan Žolnir, Derej Rok, Tržan, Saša Vipatnik, Neven Cvijanović, Juž Premrov, Sirkezi, Goran Ivašić, Anže Sever, Ole, Marin Ferrara, Aljaš Maher, Štrole, Ajda Mancian, Miha Medved, Medinho, Goran, Gordon, Lorenzo, Jurečuk, Mila, Carmen Veronica, and Tai Chi. I am deeply touched, so thank you very much.